let's get started, right? I mean, my name is Jill Kennedy, and I have been with Navitor for 14 years now, working with the sales and marketing teams, focusing on support tools and ideas to help you all help your customers. So today we've asked the specialists that we have from our Navitor divisions of LabelWorks and PackageWorks to join us to share their expertise and their knowledge because they truly are the pros. So Adria has been with LabelWorks for 15 years now. And Adria, you are our labels, sticker, decal guru, right? So thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm excited to connect with you all today and talk about some label tips really to stick to. So
awesome. And Zach Kessler has been with Navitor for about 2 years now and is an integral member of the PackageWorks team. So he may look familiar to you. We do have our Ask Zach posts on social media, so his face may be familiar. Thanks, Zach, for joining us.
Absolutely. I appreciate everyone coming on and learning some more about labels and packaging. Hopefully I can dive into the packaging side a little more for you guys and unbox some ideas for you.
I love the puns. So finally, we are joined by Rustin Ludke. Rustin has been with the company now for about 20 years, and he's currently the general manager of FolderWorks and PackageWorks. And he's our packaging professor today. So hi, Rustin.
Good morning, everybody. Glad to be here. 20 years just means that I have more dust on some of the stuff in my office than most people on the call. So excited to share some knowledge. My section will be about a case study and some other helpful tips that'll get you started in the packaging and labeling market.
Great. Awesome. Thanks so much. So as I mentioned, in today's webinar, we'll be learning the basics of labels and folders. We'll give you the knowledge you need and the right questions so you can confidently pitch these solutions to your customers. So remove your distractions and give us your attention, unlike maybe some 101 classes you've done in the past. Not that I have any experience with ignoring professors during 101 classes, but just give us your attention today and we'll appreciate it. Thanks. So let's, take a closer look at some of the status of the industry. Zach, you want to go one more for me? Thanks. So we're just going to take a little bit closer look at the industry. So the current revenue of labels and packaging in the industry in the US stands at about 9.3 billion. And it has been experiencing an annual revenue growth of about 1.2% annually. The expectation was to see revenue growth of around 3.4% over the next coming years. And then the pandemic hit. So yes, there will be a drop in revenue for 2020. This is no surprise to anybody, but the outlook is very promising and driven by an increased presence of e-commerce and the expected expansion of manufacturing operations. IBIS World projects the growth to be around 1.9% annually over the next 5 years. So, that's nothing to sneeze at. And that brings it to about a $10.2 billion business. I think we'd all like to have a little piece of those billions, right? And how do we get that? So the great thing is we have the experts here to guide you, and we'll get started with that with Labels 101. Adria, I'm going to turn it over to you for Labels 101, but before we do, I want to take another quick poll. I just want to see where everybody's comfort level is with labels right now. So I'm going to launch that. Let us know how you're feeling with labels. That kind of gives us an idea of where your comfort level is, what you'd like to focus on. So I'm just kind of watching these results come in here, and yeah, it's kind of even. It's kind of even. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to end the polling here, and we'll show you. All right. Yeah. Well, most people know enough to be dangerous. So,
a good thing.
Which is a scary thing. I think, Rustin, you mentioned that's about where you stand too, right?
When we did the poll earlier, that was me. So.
Yeah, it's no kidding. So great. Now, Adria will be here and give you some additional advice and tips and go over labels. Go ahead, Adria.
all right. Hello, everyone. So today I'm going to touch on some of the products LabelWorks produces, and then I'm really going to roll into really what to look for and questions to ask when working on a label project. So here at LabelWorks, we get into just about everything as far as labels, decals, stickers, you name it. Here's some examples shown here, the window decals, bumper stickers. There was a mention on water bottle labels earlier. We do it all. So basically you name it, we can produce it. We also house like hundreds of substrates for various applications. So that also helps when you're in those situations, you know, unsure of the material. We're going to have what works for you. So the other thing is we produce both short and long run jobs. So basically we'll go as low as 50 and into the millions. So we have you covered on all angles. The next part is, and we have an image here showing it, we call it our free form labels, but basically it's our laser cutting technology that allows, you know, for the customer to get any size or shape label without having that added die cost. So it's really nice. And you can see the image shown has like a custom shape. It really doesn't have to be a custom shape. If someone's looking for a 125 label, very odd size, we can do it. And you don't have those added costs. So lots of options here. But next, we're going to roll into the top questions to ask and really what to look for when label opportunities arise. First is the application. The most important question to ask is, what is the label being applied to? Is it going on a product or a storefront window, or maybe it's going on a food container as a seal? Knowing this info is key to providing the correct stock and adhesive. As you all know, the label is going to be, sorry. Also, if you know the label's going on a product, you'll want to ask if it's machine or hand applied. This is really important when it's going on a product. With products, a lot of times they are going to be machine applied, and there's special guidelines that are needed in order for that to happen. And here at LabelWorks, we're all here to guide you through that as well. Next, we're going to move into stocks and adhesive. Knowing the function of the label is and what to look for will help you determine the stock will work and the proper adhesive. The type of adhesives are permanent, removable, and repositionable. The stocks will become permanent over time, whereas the repositionable stock will not become permanent and leave a residue behind, and won't leave a residue behind. A question that comes up quite frequently, what to use on a textured rough surface. Something like that, we would recommend a vinyl type product with a very aggressive adhesive. If you're unsure, just ask. We're here to help. So there's lots of various applications out there, and we got you covered. Next, we'll move into the imprints. How does the customer want the label to look? Do they want a single color or maybe full color? Maybe it's foil stamped or embossed, whatever that may be. Next, really important here is find out if the customer is printing on the label. See if it's being handwritten on, or maybe they're using an inkjet or thermal printer. If that's the case, we have top coatings available. You'll also want to find out if there's multiple versions. If so, get details and we'll group them together for better pricing. And last is the finishing. Labels can be finished on rolls, they can be sheeted, they can be individually cut. We have pin fed needs, fan folding, all of that still these days, including bend and peels if they're wanting that additional finish on an individual label. The other part is, how do they want it packaged? Do they want it shrink wrap, maybe bulk package? Is there a certain number per roll? Basically, we have you covered here as well. We can do it any way you want it. At the bottom of this, So there's an image here. We also put together a cheat sheet. So if you guys are in an opportunity and you want to make sure you cover everything, we have that available for you. We also are here to help support you one-to-one. So you guys really don't need to be the label expert because we're here to do that for you. And that's really all I have in a nutshell. I will pass it off to Zach here, but thank you for your time.
Yeah, we'll send it over to Zach. Thanks, Adria. I mean, those are some great tips. I just wanted to mention too that worksheet that you talked about, we will be attaching that with our follow-up email. So we'll get that to you so that it's got the basic questions to ask your customers to get those specs that are needed for quoting. So that'll be great. Thanks so much. So now we're gonna pass it over to Packaging 101, the other half of that dynamic duo. And we're gonna pass it to Zach. So let's ask Zach, right? Go for it, Zach.
Yeah, thank you. So I just want to kind of start out with everything, starting out with being packaging is typically, in the industry, a long run, industry as far as, there's a lot of companies out there that only want to get into, the hundreds of thousands to millions. So where we come in to help is we found a gap in the market where we can help in that short to medium run packaging portion. If there's companies out there that are doing test runs as far as products and they want to see how they sell in the industry, we can help in that aspect as well. And then, another thing that we realize is that this is a very customized product line in an industry. So every customer wants to be different from how they appear on the shelves. And, in order to do that, we provide a customized approach as far as, is it going to be something that's going to be a box, or can we do something that's more of like a hang tag, necker, display boxes, anything like that, keg collars, those all fall into the section of packaging and how to differentiate yourself. The other portion would be the print and decorate. We're doing things that can be done in, days, weeks, rather than, 2, 3, 4 months, weeks, months. We're in there, we want to make sure we get it in and out. We realize the importance of speed to the market with, you can lose money while products are just sitting on the shelf without packaging and labels. We also have standard styles available. Now it is hard to, deem what is the correct standard style of a box. So, we put standard sizes on our and styles on our website, but most of all, we want to make sure that we can accommodate people who want really that customized approach. Like I said, it's a very customized industry and product line, and we want to make sure we're giving you everything you need, all the tools you need to make sure that the box that we create is fitting your product perfectly. So I do want to mention, I did see a question in there if we could do corrugated and e-flute. We do not do corrugated or e-flute, unfortunately. We are the folded carton material, retail space type products that, we'll print on something that you get like an Advil bottle in, or something along those lines. So some types of packaging here, you got your straight tuck packaging out there. This is kind of the most common one that I see out there as far as, what's the best style to use. And this is going to be something for as simple as like a soap bar, a lotion bottle, along those lines. A reverse tuck is kind of the same concept. It just adds like a little more structure to the box, to the bottom, to help it not fall through. A 1, 2, 3 bottom, this is kind of in the middle. This is going to be something that you want a little heavier set product, but not something like a liquor bottle or anything like that. It's just another form that we can use to help provide a solution. Auto lock bottom, this is kind of going to be your heavier set material, or your box is something that a liquor bottle would go in, a wine bottle would go in. And in this instance, it's not really about the thickness of the stock we use, but it's more about how productive the bottom of the box is. And one thing about this box is that it's easy to construct. So you get it, you can just pop it open and the product's ready to be inserted right away. Some other simple concepts here, types of packaging. We got your tray and lids. Trays are good for things such as invitations, cards. For example, you get like a pack of 12 cards at Hallmark or something like that. That's something we can provide a solution for. Four corner trays and different rollover trays. The most common one that I see would be rollover trays with a cover with a locking tab. This is good for gift giving and presentations that you want to show, that gives it that good appeal. It's almost like a pizza box type of function. So it's a nice, value add to what you can provide with this kind of product line. Some of the basic, what to ask, what's going inside the package is probably the most important question to ask. That'll give us a good idea. What's the size of the product going inside of it? What's the weight of it? That'll help us determine what kind of style we want to use. Another thing I want to add is that with food, the food has to be indirect. We do not do any direct food contact. We are not FDA approved yet. So anything that goes inside of our boxes will have to be pre-wrapped. The dimensions, what are the dimensions of the box that you need? Length, width, and height, the finish size. If you can't get the size of the box, try to get the size of the product, and then we can create a template that will go around that perfectly. The type of substrate. So is it going to need to be a board stock? Will it need to be wet strength board for something that's going in a freezer? Will it need to be colored? How does it need to be printed, coated or uncoated? Those are kind of the questions that you should be asking out there to kind of understand where your customer's coming from and where they want to be on the shelf. Another thing is the print process. Is it going to be a full color? Is it going to be a spot color PMS? Do they want foil? Do they want two-sided printing? How do they want it to look on the shelf? Do they want, enhanced finishes like glossed and spot UV? Or they want embossing to give it that texture feel when someone picks it up and feels it. Other special shapes, as you see the Good Cat box right there, can show the product that's on the shelf. Those are good for, like I said, displaying the product in the package while it's, on the shelf or hanging on the shelf. I guess I said shelf twice. But that's
It's so important you said it twice.
Exactly, yeah. Thank you. So I'll get into our personal capabilities and what we can do in-house. We have full color capabilities, digital and offset. With the spot colors, we're going to go to the offset printer that we do, and the offset printer is probably more for the longer runs. You'll see digital in there for the shorter runs, but spot and will be for our offset presses. We have the capabilities to do the foil stamping, the embossing and debossing to give you the texture. We can flood coat colors, spot coating like UV gloss to make the logo that you want on the box to pop, give it that nice shelf appeal, making someone maybe want to pick it up, look at it, and increase the chances of buying it. Lamination we can get into, die cut folding glue is all in-house, enhanced finishes, raised foil, raised spot UV. Just, the main thing that you're probably getting out of this is that packaging is really used to display the product and make a good shelf appeal, make the customer go over, pick it up, and increase the chances of buying that product. The last thing I want to mention is that we do have an in-house CAD designer for custom templates and 3D renderings. So if you do not have a template created at all for this, that's where we can come in. And that's why getting the size of the box and the product is so important. So I can discuss with my team, what's the best style, what's the best stocks to use and all that kind of stuff. And we can supply you with the tools so you can look like you're the professional while you're selling this packaging out to your customers. So that wraps up my segment. I want to thank you guys for jumping on and listening to us, and we'll move it on here.
Yeah, awesome, Zach. Thanks so much. Yeah. So now, how do we take all of this newfound knowledge, right? Or maybe it was just a refresh of what you already knew, but how do we bring it all together? So again, before we do, just because I love polls as much as I do, I want to just kind of get an idea of where you're all at with the types of customers that you have that maybe you can present labels and packaging to. So let us know maybe some ideas that you have of some customers that you've got in mind. Maybe you didn't think about it before. Maybe you're thinking about it now. We'll take a look at this. So it's kind of fun because I get the kind of the preview of seeing it before you all do. So it's looking, yeah, retail is huge on this, probably the largest percentage, which is interesting. You know, brand is such a big thing right now, right, Zach? I mean, people are, you know, having that brand to stand out. You're talking about jumping off the shelf and that type of thing. And that really,
Absolutely.
yeah, getting that customization in those packaging. And maybe it's a small, you know, a small business or an upstart cosmetic company or something like that, having those,
Exactly.
you know, really. All right, let's end this polling. I'm going to stop it now and show you guys the results. So as you can see, retail, huge right there, that you're all interested in. We've got the brewery, wineries, cannabis, health and beauty. Yeah, so really a good mix there.
Yeah.
So awesome. So Rustin, I know you're going to be taking a little bit closer look here at some of these ideas and some of these industries and get some of these ideas flowing. So I'm going to turn it over to you to start talking about a case study that you've got.
Perfect. Thanks, Jill. And before I jump right into the case study, one of the things that I'll mention is something that I read the other day about packaging and labeling. And that actually consumers within 7 seconds make up their opinion of a brand when they look at it on the retail shelf. If you think about that, 7 seconds isn't a lot of time to grab the package, start reading information on the package. They're really formulating their decision based on how it's positioned and what it looks like. So some of those enhanced finishes that Zach and Adria both talked about for labels and packaging are really what are selling these products and helping position those products for the right audience. Cool thing is we've got all kinds of different print and decorating methods and die cutting methods and things that can help your product stand out on the shelf. So if you can get in that door and we can start asking some questions and we can consult with you, I think we can hit some home runs. So let's jump onto the case study, Zach.
Yep.
So one of the industries, and we actually did a webinar a couple months ago on the CBD and the cannabis space, but one of the industries and one of the case studies that I wanted to highlight is this CBD customer that we had, because it was really an awesome example of how Navitor and the customer as a distributor worked together to overcome this challenge that the customer had. So the challenge was, you know, they've got a CBD company that wants 19 different versions of short run boxes, you know, and typically, like Zach said, a lot of people do long run packaging. There's not a ton that are doing that short to medium. They were able to find us, and together we're able to come up with a solution that allowed them to do this highly versioned CBD box. There are 20,000 boxes total, 19 versions. So each one of those versions on average was just around 1,000 quantity. The other thing that we were able to do is they wanted that soft touch look and feel with foil on it. And that foil is one of those things that was really making it pop out on the shelf. The laminate that they had looked at previously, number one, was very expensive. Number two, they had some trouble with getting the foil to adhere properly to the lamination. So Zach and our production team, through a process, were able to come up with a great solution that also saved a ton of money and meet the needs of the customer with the versioning. In fact, they also liked the packaging that we did so much that we were able to move that customer from just a CBD box customer to a CBD box and label customer. So we could do some of those same enhanced finishes, make the CBD label and box really coordinated around the brand. And as you can see, retail $30,000 for boxes, $7,000 in labels. Really nice customer and a growing customer at that. So, so we were able to do what I would say significantly there is our team was able to consult on that opportunity and help drive the best solution for that customer. And that's kind of the take home of that case study.
Absolutely.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the industries as well. Top verticals. You know, I know Jill just had the poll out there, and it looked like everybody touched almost every single one of these. But cannabis and CBD, again, is popping up. The CBD is legalized in every state across the U.S. Cannabis is in, I believe, 12 now and continues to grow. So we have solutions around that, and we have those enhanced finishes that they love in that market. Retail. Again, if you can get that product to catch their attention, to get them to buy into that. In fact, sometimes the product itself is less expensive than the actual packaging. So we're putting all kinds of different enhanced finishes and things on the box. The box that's there happens to have a really cool embossed design over the whole package. So the sensory part of that is huge. Beer, wine, and spirits, that's another one. You look at the label, the can label, we can do short run digital for that. So those people that have breweries, small breweries maybe in your area that are just kind of either getting started, or maybe they're not one of those big breweries yet, and they're looking to do different batches and different samples, and maybe even do promotions with those labels. We can hit it with the labels as well. Bath and Beauty is huge. Mascara eyeliner box with that foil that is holographic foil is another great treatment that we can put onto some of the packaging to add some value. So lots of verticals. It was really awesome to see the number of verticals that you guys are touching that are all top verticals for both labels and packaging.
All right.
And then lastly, let's just talk about some of the perfect pairings, right? So, and some things that you may not think of necessarily around packaging and labeling. Like these are maybe on the skirts of what you might think about for packaging and labeling. So you can add custom labels, right, to folded cartons. We've had customers ask us if we can do variable cartons, and you know, can we personalize one to each person that might be getting a gift? Because of the die cut, fold, and glue process that's involved in a carton, that becomes a challenge. However, you can do a personalized label that could go right on the top of that carton and then highly personalize it. Maybe it's a silver foil label and silver foil application to the box, and together they're going to look awesome. So we've got solutions and ideas that can help you meet the needs of your customers. Another idea is belly bands, or sometimes we'll call them wraps, right, around a corrugated box. Zach had mentioned that we don't do corrugated, but we do labels and we do wraps and we do belly bands that do go around corrugated boxes. So that's one way to look at it as well, because maybe the boards that we produce for retail don't have the strength of something that's going to be shipped and it needs to be in corrugated. But when they open up the box, they want it to, you know, look really awesome. They want it to jump out, speak to that customer. That'd be an opportunity in the packaging space as well. I know somebody had asked about neckers and what were neckers. So neckers are typically what would go on top of a bottle that would have additional information about the product itself, or maybe even a special promotion for a season. Maybe they got named, 95 points on Wine Enthusiast or something along that line, and they would want to add that to the bottle. We can do short run neckers that could then go onto those. That would be great for, again, short run craft breweries, craft wineries, and those types of things. As you can tell, we're super excited about packaging and labeling. We've got lots of ideas. We've got lots of samples and lots of other things that Jill's going to talk about in our resources section. But I hope you guys are as excited as we are, because this is a growing market and an opportunity for you guys to make a lot of revenue, both top end and profit.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much, Rustin. And I know we're at time here, so if any of you have to drop off, we understand, but we are going to continue a little bit and talk about, we're going to have a Q&A session too, and we've got a ton of questions today. So Zach, you better get ready, because I know I see a lot of packaging questions. I'm sure there's some labels in there too. So I just wanted to point out though too, Rustin, you mentioned about having the packaging and the labelings, and we here at Navitor ourselves have used that and done that frequently for gifts for trade show attendants, or some customers, or that type of thing, where we've done a beautiful package and then done a custom label for the top of it with the personalization, so that each gift can be to that person. And they have had a huge impact and really have been impressive gifts to offer. So I just want to talk really quick about some of the resources we have. Now that you have all the information, you're ready to hit the streets or you hit the phones or whatever, where do you find some great information? I was going to do a screen share, but I think I'll wait on that. I just want to focus, Russ, or Zach, if you just want to show that resources. Yeah, there you go. Navitor.com is great for resources for materials. So if you are not currently a member on Navitor.com, be sure to go in, click sign up, and it's super easy. Just fill out the form and you'll have access to Navitor.com. Within there will be access to LabelWorks labels, as well as PackageWorks items. There will be access to request samples. There will be marketing materials and so on. So everything you need to sell is right there. Plus, we have our experts here. And Zach, you want to go one more here? And just want to show you guys. Yeah, there we are. There's our team there. So these are the experts. So feel free to take down these names, these numbers, these email addresses. And these guys will be here to help you. We are the experts, so you don't need to be. We want to give you the basics so that you feel comfortable selling, but we have the experts here to help you. So feel free to reach out to Adria or Zach with your labels and packaging questions and any of your opportunities. They are here to help. So with that, I want to thank you guys all for stopping. We're going to stay on for another few minutes to answer any questions. So for those of you, like I said, that need to go, thank you so much for joining us. But please fill out the survey when you leave the Zoom application. We use those answers to formulate ideas for webinars and workshops going forward. So we appreciate any feedback you give us. And remember also to follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn, because that's where we're going to let you know what's going on and what we have happening with these workshops and so on. And it'll keep you updated with the latest that Navitor has to offer you. So we'll be back in another 2 weeks. This time we'll be embracing technology, and we're going to be showing you how technology can increase your productivity and your print profits. So it'll be a good one, and that'll be November 4th. So we'll hope you'll join us for that. But until then, stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you all for joining us. And I know we've got some questions, so let's just get right into it. Let's see. I'm going to look at some of these questions that we had. Here's one from Kathy. Zach, for gift boxes, do we do inserts as well?
Yeah, we can do inserts as well. Like I said, it'll just be a matter of, sometimes you want to send us the product that you're actually putting into the box, and that helps us kind of understand how exactly we want to create the insert. And again, we will send you, digital mock-ups, 3D mock-ups, and then we can send you physical blank mock-ups as well. And it just depends. You want to, is a paper insert good? Do you need a foam insert? Plastic inserts, those are the kind of things we'll need to know, so I can get with the right people and make sure we can accommodate you.
Awesome. Okay, so we have, what is your color certification, durability testing, and green packaging? I know we're G7 certified as far as color certification, and we work really hard to manage our color. Right, Adria, I know with labels as well.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so as far as the green initiative goes, so we have access, obviously, to, like Adria said, hundreds of substrates in-house for labels, roughly 80 substrates in-house for packaging. And then we also have the ability to source through our paper vendors, right? So if somebody was looking for hemp board stock for a cannabis application, as an example, we can get that stock in-house and work with you in regards to, what quantities make the most sense, if it was available in cartons or if it's available skid packed. But we can work with you, especially if your customers have specific wants and needs around that area.
Great. Let's see. How thick can you print and what size sheet can you run? I'm going to assume that maybe it's for packaging. Kurt? Was that?
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Go ahead,
digital, how thick can you print? So well, I guess overall we can print up to, our most common that we see is around 18, anywhere from 12 to 20 point. We can print up to 22 and 24 digitally, but we'll have to look at die cutting options for us. As some of the thicker materials will provide a more difficult die cutting process, but we can print up to 20, 22.
Awesome.
Yeah, the sheet size itself on the digital is 29 by 23. And then on our offsets, 29 by 24. So kind of basically a B2 size sheet. And one thing that I'll just back up Zach on that with a little more information too is we've a lot of times when these requests come in for the packaging, when we see what's going in it and what the application is, the board stocks that people have been using, whether it's 24 point or 20, sometimes those things are just over engineered and really don't need to actually be at that weight. And we can actually potentially, do a mock-up, make sure that it works on either equipment or that works hand folded well, and potentially even show a savings there, because a lot of times you just don't need a 24-point board stock on the retail shelf.
Yeah, it's more about the style of box and the bottom that we use that creates the structure for the box, as opposed to the actual thickness of the stock itself, are things that we've been learning along the way.
Yeah.
Awesome. So there is a question from Rod. Do you have any print on demand options for packaging?
So basically everything that we do is print on demand. We don't have any on the packaging side. We don't have any standard boxes that are here and are pre-cut or pre-die cut or pre-glued or anything like that. Everything is absolutely done on demand. Adria, I know on the labeling side, you guys have started to come up with a stock program as well as print on demand. I don't know if you want to touch base on that.
Yes, yep, you're right. Recently, within the last year here, we've started producing floor decals, seals for various food containers in the automotive industry, vehicles. They're sealing the doors now, hotels, all of that. So we do have some stock products available. They're as low as packs. You can get packs of 10 and higher, however many you want. But they ship fairly quick, within 24 hours. And like Rustin said too, we're print on demand as well. We have some quick turn times. We run 24/6 here, so we're able to get things moving quickly. So
awesome. We did have a question on minimums. So packaging minimums, and probably label minimum. So, I mean, what's the minimum for, for packaging usually, Zach?
So we typically, we say our minimums are 250, but, we'll obviously quote whatever you, are requesting. We want to make sure we give you some type of price, and, we'll quote out, different price breaks. So you can kind of see, if you give me one quantity, I'll always put 2 or 3 more. Just so you can understand kind of where the price break is. But typically we say 250, 200, 100, we've quoted out before. So, it doesn't necessarily lock in at 250, but that's just kind of where we recommend if no one has like a set quantity.
Yeah. Adria, what's a typical minimum quantity for labels? I mean, where do you guys like to start at?
Yeah, with our digital capabilities, we're able to start out as low as, 50. And that's on the more, the print on demand versus our stock products I just talked about. So yeah, that's really, we'll look as low as 50 and go into the millions. So
awesome. Let's see, boy, we've got we talked about printing on demand options, do mailing packages. You talked about that, Zach. We don't do the corrugated type mailing, but more the inserts, correct?
Yep.
So we have done a couple mailing boxes that we, it kind of depends on the application. So the application that we've done that was a mailing box was a specimen sample box. So it wasn't very large. They collect a sample, they put it in the box, and the box actually is the mailer itself. As a general rule of thumb, Zach's totally right. Like, we're not usually doing the packaging for mailing. But before we'd say 100% no, we'd just like to know what the application is, the size of the box, that type of thing.
Awesome. Let's see, we talked about color certification. Let's see if I've missed any.
I think there was one about blind shipping. I'll
yeah.
one really quick, like through the other ones. So when we set up your account at Navitor, if you want to blind ship, we can blind ship. We can just set up your account as an attribute to always blind ship, or you can specify on each order. Go ahead and blind ship that order for us on your PO. I would say 98 out of 100 times we're blind shipping the product actually out to your customer, just with the address on it, but no Navitor name on it.
Okay, awesome. So we had a question about, do you print on outside paper products that they would supply to us, such as coffee cups, paper plates, etc.?
Those two would be a challenge. That's a good question. So We do have in our Navitor specialty products division the ability to do some dye sublimation. And so we have done that on coffee cups and coasters and other products that have textures and thickness to them. I don't think we would be able to do a paper plate. I know Zach would love to connect with wherever that question was coming from, and we could either get steered to the right resource within Navitor or let you know if we've heard of anything else in the industry that might be able to help you.
Yeah. So Maria, I think we'll make sure that you have Zach's contact information. So another question was any setup charges or art charges?
For packaging?
Well, the packaging and labels wasn't specific. So Adria, why don't you start?
Sure. So no setup charges across the board for labels. Now, as far as art charges go, though, it really depends. We'll typeset at no charge. We'll place, certain images, and we do have a whole prep team here. But we also have, designers to help. So maybe, there's some customers that we work with that don't have that design connection. So we're able to support that. And yes, there's fees associated to that. But so far I've heard we've been pretty competitive, and it's nice just to, get it in and support it all across the board. So.
How about in packaging, Zach? Do you have art charges?
Art charges are typically just if there's like different versions. It depends if it's digital or if it's offset. There might be like copy changes, but typically we don't necessarily see those. I mean, Rustin might have a better answer than I would along those lines, but I believe that's what kind of how we do things.
Yeah, and typically there's not necessarily an art charge, but what I think Zach has been dealing with for the most part, because the things that we are doing are so highly customized, usually there's a die associated with that. Zach has the ability to do a cut and score mock-up of a blank, so if your customer happens to be doing machine inserting into the packaging or just wants to see what the functionality of the box is going to look like, we do have that capability. And, depending again, that's going to be opportunity dependent, right? So if there's an opportunity to land a program, Zach and myself and Adria, we're all very interested in investing into opportunities that appear to have a lot of potential to them. So again, there may be some upfront costs, but they're usually not setup costs. They're usually costs for something being customized.
Right. Awesome. Wow. So many questions. Bob Chester, I see that you've had a few questions about your playing card box, and I'm assuming it's not a traditional box, but of 52 cards. It's not a standard size standard deck, I guess I should say. But I'm sure, Zach, that would be something that, we could customize it obviously for any shape, any size that he needs for those deck of cards, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Playing card boxes are pretty standardized style, so we can definitely help you out with that kind of stuff if we need to adjust sizes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you're looking at, Bob, as well, something about that it would go into a mailing game box and it would hold cards in the instruction booklet. So yeah, for sure, get in touch with Zach to discuss that opportunity and see what we can do. But boy, that was a lot of questions, and I'm sorry if we didn't get to everybody and to all your questions. We'll do our best to do the follow-up afterwards and make sure that Zach and Adria get back to you and get answers to your questions or any issues that you may have had. But thank you all again, and thanks to our panelists for being with us today. It was so great having these experts online with us today. So thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time, right? All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.